Juking. It's a very effective bridge strat, and a very funny one. But how do you do it? And more importantly, how do you do it well? In this guide, I'm going to teach you how to juke in Hypixel Bridge in 3 different ways. So leave a like if you enjoy, but let's get right into it. So the first way you can juke is probably the one I'm best at, to be honest. Something I'm going to call top juking. Juking on top of the bridge. Makes sense to me. There are 2 slightly different ways you can do this. The first and possibly easier way is by stopping on the edge of a block mid-jump and making it look as if you're going to jump somewhere, and therefore baiting your opponent down to that place or sometimes into the void. To do this, you sprint jump towards the edge of a block, then as you jump off the final block, you stop holding W and instead hold S to stay on top of wherever you are. The second, slightly harder way you can top juke is by jumping and clutching. To do this, you again sprint jump towards the edge and jump off and turn around to place blocks to land on. You can do this quite easily with a simple block clutch, but it doesn't really look convincing unless you extend it out by a few blocks. This is quite hard for someone with less experience though, so I recommend sticking to the first variation of this method with the faking the jump, you know. The best way to practice both variations though is simply by practicing the movement, and once you've got the hang of that, try to use it in games against worse opponents and then work out how and when to use it. The second method of juking is what I think is known as sideswapping. If you're somewhere below the top of the bridge, say on a bypass or in a head hitter or something, with a rapidly approaching enemy, you can block yourself in and mine through the bridge and block off behind you and force your opponent to void, which gives you time to then do basically whatever you want. You can also apply this method to a few hippo maps with a small area around the main goal entrance, like urban or lighthouse. If your opponent hippos, you can just try and bait them down to one side of the hippo, then sideswap and block them off and run round to a side entrance. The only really difficult part of this strat is having quick enough reactions to block yourself off and switch to your pickaxe and mine through and then switch back to your blocks and block off behind you, but once you got the hang of that, you can also use that skill for other things like blocking into a hippo. Finally, we have map-specific jukes. Specific is too much of a mouthful. Some maps have opportunities to juke built into them, such as Urban and Sorcery and a few others. On Urban, you can fake running into the goal room through one of the bottom entrances and have your opponent drop down and then instead run around the side and not to the top. And you've got all the time in the world, you can take some time to gap and make your opponent sweat a bit, and you can jump down when you're ready. This is possibly the most common juke in all of Bridge, especially as it also applies to a few other maps with similar structures like Palastra and Ashgate. To juke on Sorcery and similar maps, you again fake running into the goal room, then as your opponent drops down you block them off and tower up to the top, where you can then, if you want to, sneak to try and get to a different entrance and then utterly bamboozle your opponent. Again, this can be done on a few similar maps, such as Boo, obviously, because Boo's a reskin of Sorcery, Fortress and Outpost. I've considered making a video on how to juke on every map, so if this video gets, let's say, 80 likes, I might do that sometime soon. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I know some of these technically probably weren't jukes, but oh well, sue me. So thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, leave a like. If you loved it even more, then make sure to subscribe. Happy New Year for the 4th video in a row. Thanks for watching, bye.